Gyno horror stories. So I just went to the gyno, and yeah, it was not a pleasant experience. This wasn't the first time something like this happened, and it won't be the last. For some reason, it's always the small comments that the nurses or doctors make that turn the whole experience sour. The first nurse I met asked if I'd ever been pregnant. When I said no, she replied, "That's good." Really? Now, how would I feel if I came back in a year pregnant? Then, when charting, she asked how my sister was, even though I never mentioned her. I'm guessing my sister's info got pulled up when she was charting mine. I asked how she even knew I had a sister, and she's like, "Oh, your sister goes here too. Your doctor delivered her baby." Congrats, nurse. You just violated HIPAA. I was wondering if you guys could share your stories to make me feel like I'm not alone.
Oh my goodness, this topic. I went for my yearly back in April this year. I didn't hear anything back from them, and we all know that when it comes to the gyno, no news is good news. Fast forward to August, I get this nasty phone call from a previous partner telling me she was diagnosed with genital warts. She blamed me for exposing her to it. My boyfriend and I decided, okay, let's get tested just to make sure everything's fine. So I go to my gyno's office, and I don't get to see my original gyno. Instead, there's a new person. And come to find out, my original gyno no longer worked for the practice. Then she proceeds to tell me, "Oh, it's good you came in today." Apparently, my pap back in April had come back irregular, and my gyno just looked at the result and never told anyone to call me. Fantastic, right? I lost it. I completely lost it. I had to go in for a biopsy to check my cervix to make sure I didn't have cancer and all that good stuff. Needless to say, I'll be finding a new gynecologist.
Gynecologists, what is the nastiest thing you've experienced while working? Oh boy, buckle up. I worked as a medical assistant in a gyno office and, sadly, honestly, the worst patient we ever had was actually kind of tragic. She clearly hadn't bathed in about a week, her underwear was stained, and she came in claiming she was having trouble getting pregnant. She'd even had a bunch of eggs frozen. But the smell when she took her pants off, it hit us like a wall. And then, out of nowhere, she tells me she knows how to kill a man and get away with it, and could help me out if I ever needed it. Yeah. Then there was the time I had a 98-year-old patient with severe uterine prolapse. Disappointed. Her uterus was literally falling out, sadly. Made me never want to get old. The most fascinating? A patient who, as a fetus, started developing with two vaginas. They fused together, but left a string of flesh dividing them into two sides. She didn't even know until she was 19, when the doctor accidentally stuck the speculum into the smaller side. Surprise anatomy lesson. TL, DR. Dirty, crazy lady vagina, 98-year-old with falling uterus, and double vagina girl. And then someone else chimes in. I had one too. A vaginal septum. Got it removed at 23. Had multiple pap smears before anyone even noticed. One doctor got so excited, she called everyone in to look at my vag. Pretty freaking awkward. Another story? Before they took my thyroid, you could see and feel the tumor. A med student literally rescheduled himself to watch my surgery because he'd never seen thyroid cancer before. I even let him feel my neck up. Educational, I guess. In keeping with the GYN theme, I've had med students sit in on my appointments for endometriosis. One girl even watched me get an intravaginal ultrasound in the ER for ruptured cysts. Angrily, 10 times more painful than usual. But hey, if you're ever annoyed at med students, remember, you're basically their teacher too. Now, my favorite dad's story. He's a gynecologist. Treated a girl with trick, darkly green, foamy discharge. Told her to take the meds immediately and finish them. Weeks later, she's back. Still has it. Why'd she stop? Slowly. Disgusted. Well, my boyfriend really loves the taste. La fra. I can't. Mom's a labor and delivery nurse. Chuckle once pulled Easter basket grass out of a vagina. No questions asked, no explanation given. And my personal can't unsee it moment? Assisting with a pelvic exam in the ER, patient says, "I've got gauze stuck in my vagina," sarcastically. Sure, lady, but oh my god. We pulled out 3 nasty, rotting 4x4s that had been in there since delivery. 6 weeks earlier. Disdainfully. The smell. The look. Darkly, she's lucky she didn't die of toxic shock.
Well, gynecologists of Reddit, have you ever been turned on, had a boner, or anything else with one of your patients? I am at the gyno right now, and this is such an awkward visit. I'm pretty sure it is for many females out there. I always get a woman doctor because I already am shy spreading my legs to them, and for some reason, a male doctor would be even worse for me. But I was just wondering, Do male gynos ever get turned on by their patients? I have heard what seems horror stories to me that male gynos have told their patients they have a nice vagina. In that case, I don't even know what I would do. Just hearing it makes me uncomfortable. I ended up having my medical license suspended, but it was worth it. I was an OBGYN for several years at a small hospital. This one older woman in her 40s, but very hot, would always come in and flirt with me during her checkups. She would make sexual jokes, put her foot on my crotch, etc. One particular visit, she came in, and I had just broken up with my girlfriend at the time. It was almost like she knew. She was wearing tight-ass yoga pants and this low-cut white t-shirt. I think she did a lot of yoga, which explained how she stayed so hot at 45. Most people I knew that stuck with yoga ended up being in great shape, but that shit just wasn't for me. I gave it a chance a few times, but just found it boring as hell. I'd much rather be lifting weights than laying on a mat for 2 hours while listening to sounds of nature. Fuck that shit. LPN, I worked in a long-term recovery ward. There were a few females in their 20s who had broken hips or spines that were bedridden and fairly attractive. Changing in bed isn't too bad. There's usually multiple people in the room, and it's a quick process. Having patients who are still somewhat ambulatory and want to use the bathroom are actually more of a mess. Usually they risk falling, so you have to help them into the bathroom, down with the pants, then turn around while they go. Then they're showering. That's just awkward since you have to physically touch them with a sponge sometimes.
But almost all of the time, if someone isn't ambulatory, there are multiple people there. But trust me, darkly, no matter how hot someone is smirking slowly, when they just pooped their pants disdainfully angrily, or you have to collect a specimen softly calmly, there is absolutely zero sexual attraction at all. Oh, I just remembered one of the most awkward stories mysteriously softly. A guy who was in for hip fracture refused to wear briefs, e.g. diapers for adults. It was his first night in and said he had to go to the bathroom. I asked him if he could try sitting up first, but it was too painful, anxiously, slowly. At that point, I told him he'd have to pee into an L-shaped container. Well, he still refused the briefs, so I got the container and pulled his pants down slowly, mysteriously. His penis was too small to curve around the half-an-inch lip of it, softly disappointed, and he ended up peeing on himself, sadly smirking. After that, he agreed to wear briefs. Given the absolute non-sexual environment you're in, combined with how the GYNs have seen a lot of chocho, I'd say it's a rarity, but of course it happens. Besides, if it happens, it will stay in his pants and won't interfere with his work. It's only non-sexual until someone makes it sexual. Believe it or not, most male doctors in that field are actually repulsed by vaginas, straight or gay, calmly, softly. They see them every day, fat, hairy, diseased. I think you get the idea, angrily disappointed. They see all shapes and sizes, and I would imagine they grow weary of their profession just as we do. I had a new doctor from India, who was a great doc, by the way, give me a pap test. Usually I'm pretty chill about the whole thing, calmly whispers he, and just want to get it over and don't with. I'm pretty small, so I always ask them to use the smallest size speculum they have. So I ask him this, and he says, we'll see what we need when I examine you. So he starts off with the ovary exam, inserting 2 digits and pressing the lower abdomen down so they can manually examine your ovaries for lumps. When he has his fingers inside of me, he says, oh my, you do have a small vagina. Let's just say I couldn't wait to GTFO of there after that, sadly disappointed. Saw him a few times after that for other shit, and he's actually a really good doc. Creeped me out, though, with that comment.
Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. In the meantime, check out the other ones. They're already waiting for you. Share your thoughts on this topic in the comments and tell your own stories. Wishing you a great day, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.